Good morning, everyone. Good evening. Onegaishimasu. Curtis Sensei can't be here today, so he's asked me to cover the class for him. Today I'll read the key saying, key breathing. It's number 15. The breath goes out, reaching everything in the universe and all of humanity. The breath comes in and falls into an infinitely small space in the lower abdomen. Key breathing is the unknown practice that brings you to being one with the universe. If you do this alone at night, when the universe is calm and quiet, you will wonder if either you are the universe or if the universe is you. In other words, you will experience the ultimate joy of being one with the universe. Then, the life energy of a human being becomes fully active. It's so nice to see everyone. I hope you're all doing very well. So today I'd like to go over key breathing and some of this key saying that we just went over. I think it's good to review from time to time. Just some things. It's easy to get to allow our habits to take over when we're doing this kind of practice, and sometimes we might fall in a rut, in a kind of a situation where we're just repeating but not really progressing. And so every now and then, I do this in the class I teach on the mat as well, it's good to just go back to the basics and remind people of what we're doing here. So today we'll do all three forms of meditation. But I'd like to concentrate a bit on key breathing. So it's interesting, this key saying says the breath goes out to reaching the universe and all of humanity. So I wonder if you've given any thought to this, why it says to all of humanity, right? So to me, it indicates the purpose of breathing, right? Why we're participating in this activity, why we're spending our time, why we're dedicating our time and our lives to this type of activity is for the benefit of humanity, and not necessarily for our benefit. When humanity benefits, we will be fine. So, the key saying, it's interesting in that way, because it's not just talking about the mechanics of it, although there is some of that. It's also reminding us or pointing out to us what we're doing here. What is it that this practice is all about? Our motto, of course, says, being one with the universe, helping all things grow and develop, loving all creation, right? So this is kind of sprinkled throughout the key sayings, this reminder. And here it is again. We breathe to all human beings, right? We share that breath. So when we're breathing today, you can explore this a little bit. I will speak a little bit about the mechanics, but you can also allow this to rest with you, this idea that's in the key saying. So to go over some of that, the mechanical part, what we do with our body, and our mind, of course. When we're using these sokuboku, this is to lead a class, a group. When we do by ourselves, we don't need anything like that. We just do it on our own, at our own pace. But this is so that we can do it together, so that people aren't doing everything on their own. And if you think about it, this is also kind of training us, helping us give up something for the group, right? So that everybody can join in. We do this in class when we're practicing our stretching or our hitori waza, our warm-up exercises. Everybody does together, not on their own way or their own rhythm, but together, following, of course, one person, the instructor, or whoever the instructor is designated to lead the warm-up. And then our job is to just be with that, be together. And so to let go of what we think is the right way. Right? So when we're breathing, we want to, the first sound of this, the first clap of the sokuboku is that we exhale, right? And the final one, which is that repetitive clapping, right? We exhale. So we must take a bit of a breath in order to do this. And when we, so there's no rush, right? When you hear the first clap, take a breath, a normal breath, and then begin exhaling. We don't want to rush in any way in this activity. We want everything to continue infinitely. It comes from infinity and goes to infinity, this breath. So we take that breath and then we slowly begin to exhale. And the exhale is very calm, very peaceful. I know people have been taught to make a sound, but sound is not necessary. You can make a very light sound, that's fine. We don't have to. There may be a little bit, but it's just that light. Right? And when you hear the clap, and this is very important, we don't rush to close our mouth and to begin inhaling. We pause. We allow the breath to continue. There's no more breath coming out, but we allow the breath to continue. Or maybe a count of 3 seconds. And then another breath begins, the inhale. Right? And so that's what we mean when we say goes to infinity, comes from infinity. That breath that you inhale, again, very light, so that you cannot really tell when that breath begins. And you allow that breath to go to your one point. There are different ways to view this. The Kisei says to just allow the breath to go into the one point. We often talk about the breath filling the body, right? Filling the entire space. Both of those are fine. We don't have to try to say one is better or one is right. Follow whatever in this moment. If you've been doing it a certain way, maybe you can try something a little different, if you like. When I breathe, it's like the entire, everything is exhaling. And everything is inhaling. And so when inhaling is happening, the entire space is filling, right? And when the exhale is happening, the entire space is filling. Right? You could say it's empty if you want. You see? I mean, when I'm doing it, that's the experience that I'm having. Like the breath is just happening, right? It just, it's not happening here or here. It's just happening. The breathing is taking place, right? And so when if thought comes, or if I get distracted, then that experience disappears, and it's like here again. So when we're breathing, we don't have to go search for that again. Just into the one point, out to infinity, go back to the basics, allow it to come on its own. We don't have to search for anything when we're doing breathing. We just fall into this nice, calm experience. Because if we're searching, if we're looking for something, trying to do it a certain way or trying to have a certain experience, we're basically doing that for ourselves. If we give that away and just allow the breath to happen, then it's for everyone. I hope you can see this. I'm sure there might be comments or questions about it, but I do want to point out this pause between the inhale and exhale. This is very important in this practice. So when I do the Sokuboku, I'll keep the breath short so that you can experience this pause a little more fully, maybe. Sometimes if it's a long interval between the claps, it can be difficult to experience this if we're not, if we don't have a lot of practice. So if we keep it to say like 10 seconds or something like that, each inhale, exhale, then we can all experience that. And so that pause takes up, right? It takes up some of the interval. It takes up 2 or 3 seconds of it. Right? And when we get experienced at it, everything just kind of flows very nicely, no matter what the interval is. And so again, every time you find yourself maybe struggling or thinking about something else, or thinking about your body too much, just come back to that calm breath. Just remember, how simple that instruction is, and yet sometimes how easy we get distracted and are not doing it. Okay? So with that, let's begin our practice with some ki breathing. Again, we'll do some ki meditation and whole mind-body meditation as well. But we'll spend some time with ki breathing today. At the end, please feel free to bring up anything you like. Close your eyes. stretch. All right, we'll continue with key meditation. Shuchu Ho, Kakudai Ho. Shuchu Ho. Kakudai Ho. Shuchu Ho. Kakudai ho. Shuchu ho. Kakudai ho. Stretch. We'll continue with mind-body meditation. Okay. So maybe you notice if your breathing was nice and calm during that first part, how that carries over into the key meditation, and then key meditation carries over into mind-body meditation. So we do them in this order because there's kind of like a nice progression there. The breath, everything kind of starts with that breath, right? And so when we're worked up about something, something's not going well, we can come back. This breath is here for us to remind us about this calmness, right? So if we just pay attention to that, everything can change. Our whole entire perspective can change. It has the potential to change. So I think I'll stop there and welcome any comments that you'd like to share with the group. Be happy to comment as well a little bit more about that.
Good morning, Sensei. It's Phoenix.
Oh, hi, Phoenix.
Hi. Your talk at the beginning about this, the breathing being for all of humanity, both way, in and out. And that, I don't know, that reached me in a different way. I don't think I had, I had read it before, but I didn't take it in quite in the same way as I did today. And it did. It's like, it made the other parts also so much richer. It's hard to explain, but thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Phoenix. Yeah, I think it's easy to overlook that part of the key saying. I've had students in class, sometimes we practice this in class. We haven't done it recently as much because of our modified schedule. But before the pandemic, we incorporated breathing meditation in some way in practically every Saturday class, at least once a week, for 20 to 40 minutes. Our class was a bit longer, so it made it easier to do that. And students would say, I don't know if you remember this, but there would be students from time to time who would say, "Oh, this is so difficult. I can't, it's difficult for me to sit still, or my mind just wants to go places." And so my response tends to be, when someone says that, is who are we doing this for? Right? In other words, if it's something important, right? Important in life, that might not be easy to do, you see. And so to get students to understand that, it's like this expression of wei wu wei, 99.9% of everything we do is for ourself, and there isn't one, right? So everything, or almost everything we do is to bolster ourself, our sense of self, right? And this does not fall in that area of activity. It just doesn't. So, you know, to see more deeply, to understand, requires considerable work, right? And that expression for all of humanity, it kind of reminds, at least it reminds me why this work is important. Yeah. So thank you. I'm glad you were able to see it in a new way.
Thank you, Sensei.
Anyone else? We have a quiet bunch today.
Kiyomi wants to say something, but I can't hear her say it. She's moving her mouth.
Oh, maybe you're muted, Kayomi.
Can you hear me? I think when I was learning education before, a different one, and I was learning to bring in positive, and then exhaling, bring out all the things, like the negativities or something, you know, it's not like very pleasing to me. And so I always felt like I didn't understand why exhaling is, it's just different kind of practice. So today, I always felt like I'm like a polluting, like bringing out the negativities to the world, and maybe exhaling CO2 or something. And then today, when you say that, reaching out to all humanities, I thought of maybe, you know, like doing for somebody else, and I thought of a CPR class I took, and actually exhaling, you can save people. And from there, I thought, okay, so exhaling is reaching out to other people, not for myself, but other people. It's kind of made sense to me, and it was became a little easier how I can exhale and expanding and bringing. And I like to think that, I have one technical question. That you have shorter interval, and sometimes I have more breath to exhale, but then the sotobox thing, like I hear the sotobox and I have to go, and then I wasn't like, when longer I have to do very slowly. I learned it, but then shorter one. How do you do that?
Okay, thank you. I hope everybody was able to hear. You were your voice was kind of coming in and out, but I heard pretty much everything. So let me address the second part first about short. Yeah. So this is it's like the group, right? So maybe I do it this way. Someone does it a different way, and the other way, or maybe the way of the leader, doesn't feel right to me, or doesn't feel correct. But when we breathe normally, we don't breathe this way, right? We just breathe in, out, in, out. So when I'm breathing, I may have more breath. There are people here who are very, very experienced, who can breathe for long interval, right? but you hear the sokuboku, you just let it go. That's all. There's no, you don't have to figure it out. And you don't have to do like some kind of sudden change. It just comes out. If you don't worry about it, it just comes out, right? You may have a lot of breath left, and then it's out, done. Breathe in. It's like when we talk, we have to take breath and then to talk. So I take a breath in and then I say some words. I may still have more breath in me, but I take a breath in. It just comes out on its own. I don't have to think. So something for you to explore there. It's also, maybe related to a group dynamic as well, to practicing with different people. It can be very helpful in that for us to see, how many different ways there are to do something, and they're all okay, perhaps. At least in the day that someone else is leading, then you just go with that, right? But it shouldn't cause too much physical trouble to just end the breath when you hear. And it doesn't have to end suddenly. There's that pause, right? So that let the breath go. Allow it to continue. Then begin breathing in. There's no rush. There's no rush to switch. I hope that answers that part. Just explore. Something for, to explore. It's the same when it's long, right? It can be very challenging for us. But if we can just let go of some things, it gets easier, right? Deeper breathing becomes easier the more we can let go. So, and then regarding the first part, so you were talking about letting out the negativity. I understand what you mean. You're talking about releasing what is negative. But then that this is kind of telling you something different. Send out positive, right? Good feeling, good positive to all of humanity. Yeah, and there's this in Buddhist meditation, Tibetan Buddhism. They have a practice called Tonglen. And I do not practice Tibetan Buddhism or Buddhism in any form. But I've read a few things, and it's very much like that. Send out all of your positive, right? So like absorbing whatever is harmful, it's like absorbing it, taking it away, removing it from the world, and then releasing positive. And it can be with breath or just in sitting practice. I'm not sure how it happens in that practice. I've never done it. But yeah, maybe a good way to think of it is, and sorry, we've gone a little over here, but I'll just finish with this. Remember what Curtis Sensei said about the one point is the magic pot. This was he had a class on this a few weeks ago. So any kind of and this came from Toi Sensei, from Koichi Toi Sensei. Negative experience, negative thought enters, negative feeling in our body, just into the one point. It's like throw it away. Right, the one point takes it, absorbs it, it can handle right? That stability that the universe provides can handle it, right? And so that what ends up when that happens, when that gets thrown in there, when it gets thrown away, then the positive, right, plus shines through. And so I think this is a good way to experience it, a good way to approach it, rather than thinking, release, just into the magic pot, into the one point. It's not like we accumulate it in that way, right? The way it gets accumulated is by exposing ourselves constantly to negativity, right? The subconscious mind then takes it. But when it suddenly appears in the conscious mind, into the magic pot. Does that help?
Thank you.
Yeah. And again, yeah, when you're helping someone, we help with this feeling of selflessness. I mean, when we're doing it well, right? Not easy to do. That's why we practice all kinds of service type things in our dojo, right? We set up, we take down, we clean, we do these things on a regular basis to help people understand that this is very much a part of our practice, is selflessness, is not doing for ourself, right? Not building the self. The self's been built pretty well. We don't have to add to that. Yeah. So. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing this time. I hope you all have the rest of your weekend is very nice, or a wonderful week to come. And we'll see each other again next time. Domo arigatou gozaimashita. Aloha.